Well, hello. Today, we're going to try something a little different. We're going to see how it goes. If it goes well, we're going to maybe do this every Wednesday night, as long as our schedule allows. But tonight, we're going to try something different. Today, we are going to be reviewing the top 5 things going on in the WWE. I know a lot of people are fans. We're fans, too. So first off, you know me. This is my channel, Kato of Kato Reviews. And today, we have a very special guest. The second biggest wrestling fan in the family, besides me.
Or number 1.
You're number 1, ahead of me.
Maybe.
All right. Number 2, number 1, my daughter Orchid. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so this took a lot of convincing. You guys can't imagine. Orchid's not really somebody that wants to be in front of a camera, so I really had to talk her into it. But I hope it's going to be great. She has a lot of strong opinions on wrestling. Let's see if it shows through tonight. First, let's jump right into it. Our number 1, maybe not the biggest. This is in no particular order. First thing we're going to talk about, Ronda Rousey in her match at the pay-per-view on Sunday night. What do you think?
I thought she did really well. I thought not just her, but Nia Jax did really well too, which was really surprising because I'm not the biggest fan of Nia Jax, but I thought they had a really good match.
Yeah, what don't you like about Nia Jax?
I don't think she's that great of a wrestler.
Okay. Were you surprised they didn't put the title on Ronda Rousey?
I guess a little bit. You and I talked about this. Like, I didn't actually think they'd give it to Ronda. You made a suggestion that maybe Stephanie McMahon would get involved. And once you made that suggestion, I really thought that was going to happen. I also read a couple, theories about, Natty getting involved because they've been pushing Natty and Ronda being friends, and I thought that could be a possibility. I never imagined that they'd cash in Money in the Bank the same night.
Do you like that better than the other possibilities of Stephanie getting involved?
No, and I think that's because I don't really like Alexa Bliss.
Okay, why?
She's a good heel.
Okay, so you don't like her for the right reasons.
Right.
Okay. We talked about this. I would have put the title on Ronda Rousey day one. To me, I know that she doesn't have the same level, and I know you disagree with this 100%. You think she should earn her ranks. But to me, she's already earned her ranks because, she's a bigger star than anybody else on the roster. Maybe even amongst men on the roster. So, to me, if she's committed to being there, to me, you get way more press, mainstream press, putting the title on her right away. So, and I know some people in the company may have got upset, and maybe even a few fans would have got upset. But the bigger picture is those fans that were upset were not going to, not tune in the next show. But
right.
If she would have won the title, you may have drawn in new fans that, were like, oh, I know this lady. Let's see what's going on over there. So that's why I would have put the title on her right away. So, okay.
I definitely think, though, after seeing her wrestle on Sunday at Money in the Bank, I definitely like her better as a wrestler now. I definitely respect her more as a wrestler now. I think that she really pulled her own weight on Sunday night. She had a great match.
I agree.
Which was very surprising. I know she had a good match at WrestleMania, but it was easy for her to have a good match because she was in there with Triple H and she was in there with Kurt Angle. And I know Stephanie doesn't really wrestle, but she was in there with people that know the business and have been in the business for a really long time.
Yeah. Still, though, having a good game plan on paper and being able to execute it are two different things. So I had a fair amount of confidence in her after that because you can plan the greatest match in the world, but if you can't execute it, it's all for nothing. So I don't know. I think now if she has another title match, would you put the title on her or push it clear till WrestleMania next year?
I'm not sure. I think they might put it on her at SummerSlam.
I'm not asking what you think. If it was you, up to you.
Probably not put it on her right now.
Okay.
I respect her more as a wrestler, but I still don't think that she's earned it.
Okay. Let's talk about another title. Moving on to our second topic of the day, Seth Rollins. Lost the Intercontinental title, sort of unexpectedly. I don't think anybody really expected it. Do you like it? Him losing the Intercontinental title, or do you think he should have kept it for a while longer?
I don't know if he should have kept it for a while longer. I do like, I liked him having a title, and I definitely would like to see him have another title. But I was thinking about it, and after watching Raw a full way through, seeing that they were going to have a number one contender match at, what's the next event?
Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules. I think Seth Rollins might be in that match and might, like, win it.
So you think he's going to be the next one to go on and fight Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
Do you buy him in a singles match one-on-one against Brock Lesnar?
I think he's had really great matches these last couple of weeks. I think so.
Okay, I'm not debating whether or not he has great matches. I think he's the best, like right now in the company, or at least on Raw. I'll say on Raw, he's the best babyface on all of Raw. So to have that match with Brock, I agree. I think it would be fine. I think it would be a little more surprising. I think the crowd would get with it. I'll be stunned though. I still think for whatever reason they're going with Roman Reigns in this situation, or maybe Bobby Lashley. And I'll tell you the truth. I know he just came back to the company, but I'd be interested to see a Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley match. I think it may be a very violent and very compelling.
Do you think the fans will get behind that? I know I'm talking about Seth Rollins, but Bobby Lashley, I mean, they haven't really cheered him.
Yeah, I don't.
And I haven't really enjoyed him being back. I mean, I remember him from when I was younger, very little, and he hasn't had the best promos. He messed up on Monday Night Raw again, saying something simple. I can't even remember what he messed up, but he messed up. So I don't know. I don't think the fans like him. Maybe they like him a little more than Roman Reigns, but I don't think that they really.
Yeah, I don't know. You're probably right. I don't know that the fans would get with the match in the build-up, but I think I would hope at least when it came down to it, physically, I think Bobby Lashley matches up better than almost anybody on the roster to Brock Lesnar. And I think once they actually are in the match and it's happening, I think if you have enough of a surrounding card around them, people would get with that match. And I think it could be potentially very good. I don't know. I don't know. I think, from a fan's perspective, I think it makes more sense to go Seth Rollins. But at the same time, I don't know what the plan is for Brock Lesnar. Does he stick around for another 3 years? If he's sticking around, you keep the title on him for a long time yet.
I don't think he's going to stick around. I think he's going back to UFC.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So let's move forward. Our next subject of the day, a little outside of the realm of wrestling. Big Cass got released yesterday. What do you think?
I think he had a good match on Sunday, but I haven't enjoyed the Daniel Bryan stuff.
Okay.
I really haven't. I was really disgusted whenever he beat up the little person a couple weeks ago, and I just, none of the stuff I find funny, the carnival stuff, I thought that was garbage. What is the point?
Well, some of that stuff's written for him.
Right.
He can't control all of that. So from that point, I don't know. But him as an in-ring performer, you liked his match on Sunday. I like his size. I've always been a guy who really likes great big guys. I think it's just that superhero mentality of me growing up watching wrestling that maybe younger people don't have that same feeling about wrestling. I don't know what his attitude was like in the backstage, so I don't know if it's somebody that they want to keep around for a long time. But I do think that it's a tough business, man. Guys get there and you can't get comfortable.
Yeah.
You got to work hard because there's always there's all those guys at NXT that
Right.
We watched that NXT show. Some of those matches were amazing. So there's only so many spots. Those guys that are on the top, like a Big Cass, have to stay working hard, have to stay humble, and have to work hard.
Yeah.
If I was the one pulling the trigger on keeping Big Cass or not, I probably personally would have kept him just based on, when he walks through the curtain, he looks like a star to me. His promos were not very good. And maybe you and I will come out different on this. I grew up in a time where if you had a guy like Big Cass where, maybe they looked great and could go well enough in the ring, you stick him with a Bobby Heenan, a manager, or someone that could, someone like that could really talk for him. And, you could make money with a guy like Big Cass forever based on this guy doing the work in the ring and this other guy cutting the promos. Why wrestling's got away from that, I have no idea, but it really has. You have to be able to do your own talking, do your own matches, be smart on social media. It's a different world than whenever I was a kid.
Right. I don't know. I feel like there's enough big guys right now. Like, they've got Drew and they've got Braun Strowman. Those are two really... I mean, I feel like Drew is going to be a big star. And, I mean, obviously, Braun Strowman is a big star. He's Monster in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know if they really need another big guy right now.
And it's not like it's a death sentence for Big Cass. You think about guys who had one run, left, recreated themselves, and come back. You're talking about Jinder Mahal, who was basically a job guy. Drew McIntyre, who was basically a job guy.
Right.
They both came back, and things really took off on them. Cody Rhodes is killing it on the Indies now. Like, he's he's recreated himself. So I guess we'll find out, what kind of how passionate Big Cass is about the wrestling business. Our next subject is probably a little darker, as we talked about earlier. Big Van Vader. He passed away today. Do you even remember? You have any memory of Big Van Vader?
I don't remember watching anything where he wrestled in. I remember watching him on Boy Meets World, and he had a wrestling match on Boy Meets World, but it wasn't a real wrestling match.
Right.
And as I got older, I remember you showing us him versus Shawn Michaels, when Shawn Michaels kept breaking character and like yelling at him. And I think you just showed us that as kind of like a funny thing to show us as kids. I
mean, that's not a fair representation of what Vader was. I thought about it a lot today because I knew we were doing this video, and how I would describe Big Van Vader to you in a way that maybe you understand. So the way I would describe Big Van Vader in the early 90s, he was that era's Brock Lesnar, except he worked all the time. Like, he was a guy, when you watched him work, you would say he's really beating the dog snot out of these guys. I mean, he's really smacking them around, because he was. And if you read Cactus Jack's book, he's just talking about how violent and how stiff these matches were. And he was a guy that, he almost always worked as a heel, and he would rough up these baby faces, but baby faces that really wanted to fire back and fight, he always sold for them. Like, he was just, he was special. I mean, he was a great big guy. He was 6'4", 400 pounds, and could do a moonsault. Like, before, like, hardly anybody was doing moonsaults.
Right. He
was a 400-pound dude doing these moonsaults. And I just remember the first time I saw him do one, I was blown out of the water, because it was just, at that time, it was like 220-pound guys were doing moonsaults, not a 400-pound. And this guy was already on top. Like, he was a main event guy. And, like, he had some of the most incredible matches with Sting, and Cactus Jack and him had incredible matches. There's a match from Starrcade, him versus Ric Flair. That's one of my all-time favorite matches from that era. Like, he was just, like I said, the best way for me personally, in my mind, to describe Vader was he was a guy that was the Brock Lesnar of his era. The fact that he will not go into the Hall of Fame as a living person is a crime. And WWE, I hope today, the people that decide that, Vince and Triple H or whoever it may be, that decide who goes in and who doesn't, I hope they hang their head in shame today, thinking about the fact that they didn't put him in when he was still alive. So it's kind of heartbreaking. I was a Vader fan. I mean, it's hard not to be a fan of somebody that athletic who worked on top and made everybody he worked with look better.
Why is he one of the wrestlers that doesn't get talked about then? Why is he somebody that I remember him from Boy Meets World, like I said, and I remember you showing us that video, but he's not somebody that, like, I think just like a regular fan knows.
Well, I mean, it's sort of revisionist history. He wrestled in the time from maybe 90, like, he was in the United States big from like 91, 92 up to 96, 97, which isn't like the boom era of wrestling. It's right after, like, the Hogan era and right before the Attitude era, where a lot of these guys, there were some really great workers during that time and really great guys that are sort of lost to history because they're just in a downtime of wrestling. And, it wasn't necessarily wrestling's fault. wrestling sort of goes up and down with the economy. So the economy was sort of down during that time, and wrestling was down. But I mean, if you go back and watch some of his matches, there's no doubt that he's one of the greatest that's ever done it. And one of the greatest big men. But I think why he isn't talked about so much today is, I think maybe the perception is that Vader was somebody that wasn't always easy to work with behind the scenes, maybe, and you know, WWE wasn't like a lifelong WWE guy that they really love, and so it's really a shame because he's an incredible character, and so you know, I personally mourn him. I thought he was great, and I feel terrible that he didn't get into the Hall of Fame. So we're gonna close on this one, number 5 for the day. Before you even knew what happened last night, you were like, hey, we got to talk about Rusev. You love Rusev.
Yes.
Now he's the number 1 contender to the title, to the WWE title. What do you think?
It makes me happy. I think that, I mean, he's one of your big guys. I mean, I know he isn't that tall, but he's a muscular guy. And I think, I mean, I enjoy the matches that I watch that he is in, and I absolutely love his pairing with Aiden English. I think that Aiden English has done hysterical things with Rusev, and I think adding Lana to the mix was a great idea, and I really hope that they continue doing this.
You think he has any shot in the world of winning the title?
I think he should have a shot. Like, I think WWE should listen to the fans and let Rusev win. I know that would be taking AJ Styles off of the belt, but I think the fans really do enjoy Rusev. And, like, I know he's a heel, but I don't know. I think he's a very lovable heel.
My argument that is, you're saying a word, heel. The job of a heel is to get people to boo you. Mm-hmm. From that standpoint, he has failed miserably. Like, I wouldn't... Let's say, I mean, you're going to school now to be an occupational therapist. You're hired to be an occupational therapist. When you get to your job, you go do secretary work. And then the boss says, why are you doing the secretary work as opposed to being an OT? And you say, well, people like me as a secretary. To me, that's not being good at your job. That would be my argument against Rusev.
I think that WWE booked him in the sense of the comedy heel, which made him become lovable. I think that has happened several times. I think
What happened to Daniel Bryan?
Yeah, and I think that it also happened to Heath Slater. Heath Slater was in that heel, funny guy situation, and I mean, the crowd turned and loved him. Like, I think
New Day. It happened to New Day. It happens to a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, I guess if you're really good at your job as a wrestler, people are going to love you no matter if you're a good guy or a bad guy. So I'm on board with Rusev. I enjoy him being on television. I'm not on board with him being the WWE champion.
Why?
Well, I think that the roster is too deep now. Like, to me, I think there's so many better options on the SmackDown brand. I think AJ Styles, based on reaction, is a better choice to be the champion. I think that Daniel Bryan, who's my personal favorite, and I know I love big guys, but for a number of reasons, Daniel Bryan's my favorite. I still think Nakamura is a good choice to be the heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
So I think there's just enough guys. And somebody else that, like, you and I have talked about personally, and I think you maybe think it's a mystery of why, but I'd love to see Kofi Kingston have a nice little run as a heavyweight champion. I think the guy has earned it. He's got over in every rotten sort of situation that they've stuck him in. So, like, I like Kofi Kingston. He has great matches. I just don't know that I buy Rusev. I don't hate Rusev. I like Rusev. I think he's a great mid-card type of a character. But to say you're the champion now and let's go with you, I don't buy it. With that in mind, I also said the same thing about Jinder Mahal last year, and I was wrong. He made a great top-level heel, so who knows?
And that's what I was about to bring up. And also, AJ Styles and him, like, facing in the ring, there were quite a few Rusev Day chants.
Yeah,
It wasn't just AJ Styles. It was a lot of Rusev Day chants were happening. I do think the crowd loves Rusev. I don't think it's just like a me or you type of situation. I think a lot of wrestling fans would love to see Rusev as the champion. Maybe don't stick him as the champion for really long, but I think that we're heading down the road where it's going to, like, you're making Rusev a new Daniel Bryan, where, like, you gave Daniel Bryan a title opportunity and you didn't let him keep it, and then it just, like, the crowd just keeps rebelling. I think that's going to happen with Rusev.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. I guess we're going to find out. By virtue of his win on SmackDown, you said if he won, you wanted a Rusev Day shirt? Mm-hmm. Well, he won. I guess we got to get you a Rusev Day shirt. So, Well, this has been a lot of fun, man, for me. I don't want to drag it out too long. I've learned that if you make these videos too long, people don't tune in. So we'll try to keep them in the 10-minute range going forward. But this has been awesome. You've been really good at it. Better than I expected. Good job.
Thanks.
So we're going to close. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I can't say the bad word because Orchid doesn't curse, but I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks.